After World War II, Germany was divided into two sections, with East Germany being controlled by the USSR and West Germany being controlled by the US. Berlin was divided into two sections which were jointly administered by France, America, the USSR, and Great Britain. When given control of East Germany, the USSR tried to convert this country's economy into socialism. Socialism is when most or all properties are owned by the government and not by private organizations. The citizens of East Germany did not like the fact that the country was divided into two sections. Also, they wanted to have free elections, but East Germany did not have free elections. So the citizens of East Germany were protesting to have free elections and reunify the divided sections of Germany, but the government quickly shut it down. This and the promises that West Germany was better led to many people from East Germany moving to West Germany. The task of moving from East Germany to West Germany was relatively easy since you could just walk across the border. However, the Soviet Union wanted total control of Germany and Berlin, so they set up the Berlin blockade. The Berlin blockade blocked any food or supplies by railway from reaching West Berlin. For a few days, the world watched as they waited to see if an outbreak would start. West Berlin was worried about shortages of food, clothing, and water. How would France, Great Britain, and the US retaliate? Introduce the Berlin Airlift. When the Soviets took over Berlin, they announced that they would apply administrative and economic sanctions that would result in Soviet currency circulating in Berlin. In response to this, the United States, France, and Great Britain decided that they would send an airlift to Berlin, delivering essential goods like food, water, and clothing. They planned to deliver 5,000 tons of food and coal in a day. When the Berlin airlift started, the Soviets couldn't shoot the planes down, since they'd made an agreement not to shoot down any unarmed, humanitarian planes. This left them with the options to let the airlift continue, or violating their agreement. The Soviet Union was also busy rebuilding their fallen economy, so neither side wanted to wage a war. The Berlin airlift continued for more than 10 months, and on April 21st, the amount of supplies delivered exceeded the amount previously bought by railway, meaning that the airlift delivered more supplies than the trains had previously had. On May 12, 1949, for the first time in 10 months and 19 days, a train went through Berlin. This train signified that West Berlin was once again normal and controlled by the joint powers of France, Great Britain, and the United States. This event broke many barriers, including supplying an entire city just by air, subduing the Berlin blockade, and successfully thwarting off the Soviet Union from any fantasies of further expanding their empire for the moment.
By 1961, the Cold War constrained and stressed out East Germany under communist control. With West Germany advancing economically, culturally, and businesses opening, for people in the Eastern Bloc it was a model towards liberty and democracy. Between 1949 and 1961, approximately 2.5 million people fled to West Germany. Seeing that nearly 2,000 Germans crossed the border every day despite the fact that military checkpoints were already set up, the Soviets decided to build the Berlin Wall. On the night of August 12, 1961, the communist leaders of East Germany placed down more than 30 miles of barbed wire fences through the middle of Berlin. This didn't stop many people, and because of this, the wall structure was changed several times. The Soviet Union's goal was to make it as hard as possible for people to escape the dreadful life they were living. Soldiers and their guard dogs were securing areas, electric fences and landmines were also set up. Though these factors stopped some individuals from escaping, people never stopped trying. More than 100,000 people tried to escape, but sadly only 5,000 to 10,000 succeeded. The Berlin Wall separated families, relatives, and friends. It was cruel and hard both physically and psychologically to live under these circumstances. Many people said that the wall symbolized the Iron Curtain in the Cold War. The wall kept millions of people from freedom. You could look over it and see free life, but on your side of the wall, everything was the same, dull, and depressing. Monotone. On June 12, 1987, our 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, broke a barrier by stepping up to the Soviet Union. This was possible because there was a different kind, a new wind blowing through the political system of the Soviet Union. The man that allowed to break up with the status quo was called Mikhail Gorbachev, the Soviet leader at the time. Reagan challenged the leaders to tear down the wall by giving a famous speech.
General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
With other East European countries like Hungary, Romania, Poland, and Czechoslovakia starting to rebel, the Soviet Union's grip was starting to slip. Just an interesting fact pointing back to my Hungarian origin is that on August 19, 1989, the Hungarian government allowed thousands of East German citizens to cross the Hungarian-Austrian border, which was a part of the Iron Curtain. 3 months later, the wall was torn down and families could finally travel across. East and West Germany officially united on October 3, 1990. After the Soviet Union withdrew its power, Eastern and Western politicians reunited to open up the opportunity for travel around the world. Citizens could start their own businesses and make a living for themselves again. However, there was also a downside to the reunion. People in the West were suffering from unemployment. Eastern residents took job opportunities from the West, and taxes increased, which led to high resentment towards former East German citizens. Around the world, the fall of the Berlin Wall affected countries governed by the Soviet Union, like Hungary, Poland, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and many other countries. They made strong connections with the European Union and NATO to create alliances and to stop tragic events like this to reoccur. The United States aided and influenced the reunification of Berlin by conducting the Berlin Airlift and Reagan's leading speech, which many Americans believe tore down this huge barrier. The fall of the Berlin Wall led people around the world to access the freedom that they once had.